In section 3.3, we break into a couple different days. Day 1, we introduce experiments, and we talk about what is a statistical experiment and what are the components we can identify. So we talk about how the experiments run and certain details of the experiment. We just kind of explain how it goes. Just touch on things to start, and then we get into more detail as we go through day 2 and day 3 of this section. So an observational study is you observe individuals and measures variables of interest, but does not attempt to influence the response. So what that means is you sit back and you observe. You do not influence or change how things happen. A sample survey is a survey done through observing only. So it'd be like you ask someone a question and you listen to their answer, or you watch how certain people behave, or like when you want to test out how like maybe a vaccine or a drug affects someone, you observe how it affects like a rat or an animal or a person when you just sit back and watch. The goal is to gather a picture of the population through a survey that interacts with the population in as little way as possible. So you want to see what happens without really interacting or affecting the way they behave. An experiment is an attempt to collect data on a sample or actively impose some treatment. I was mistaken there. A sample survey is not when you would give like a drug to someone. That would be an experiment. So you intentionally give them a drug to see how it affects them. In this type of design, we are trying to reveal how one response variable reacts to the changes in one or multiple explanatory variables. All right. And experimental units are the individuals or like the lab rats, what you're going to use to do the experiment. Subjects are what the experimental units are called when they are humans. A treatment is a specific experimental condition applied to the unit, and factors are the explanatory variables. And the level is the value of each factor. So the factor is the thing we change. I'll put it over here. And then the level is how we change it. So, for example, if you're testing a drug, the thing you change would be the drug, and how you change it could be like the dosage, so the amount of the drug you give. So factors and levels. Factor, what we change, levels, how we change it. Okay, so just to recap, an observational study is what we talked about last week, where you would ask a question and observe an answer. An experiment is when you give a treatment, so give a drug or you give something and see how it affects them. Okay, and then the units are the individuals. The treatment is what you're giving them. And then the level is how you change it. So it could be like the amount of dosage or the how strong a dosage is or something like that. Okay. So if you look at example 1, it says find the experimental units, subjects for each problem, list the factors and levels, and then give the treatment for each of the following experiments. So researchers study the absorption of a drug into the bloodstream, inject the drug into 25 people. The response variable is the concentration of the drug in the person's bloodstream measured 30 minutes after the injection. So you got 25 people, they're injecting a drug, and they want to see what is the concentration of that drug in the bloodstream 30 minutes after injection. 3 different doses of the drug are given. So let's go through it. What are the experimental units or the subjects? It would be the 25 people involved in the study. Okay, the factors. So if you look back, factors are the explanatory variable. So let me scroll up. So factor is the explanatory variable or the thing we change. So the factor in this one says the explanatory variable is the dosage of the drug. That is the thing we change. Okay. The levels is how we change it. So how are we going to change it? It says 3 different doses of the drug are going to be given. So 3 different doses. And then the treatment is 3 doses of the drug. Okay, so that's one example. Number 2 is a little bit different. It kind of helps you understand a little better. What are the effects of exposure to an advertising message? An experiment using undergraduates as students viewed a 40-minute long television program that included ads for a product. Some people saw 30-second commercials while others saw a 90-second commercial. The same commercials were run a different number of times. So some were ran 1 time, 3 times, or 5 times. After viewing all of the people answered questions about the recall of the ad, their attitude toward the product, and whether they consider buying it. So to recap that, they have undergraduates, and they're going to view 40-minute long television program that included ads or products. So they're going to watch a show that's 40 minutes, and there's ads or commercials. Some people saw 30-second commercials, others saw 90, and the same commercials were run a different number of times. So some people saw 1 time, some saw 3 times, some saw 5 times. So maybe like one person saw 1 90-second commercial, one person saw 3 30-second commercials. Okay, and the chart down here kind of shows that. And then once they're done, they're going to try to see which length and how many times do people recall it the best, and then how many times is the attitude the best. Because the more you see a commercial, sometimes you get so annoyed, you're just like, I'm never buying that. So there are studies done so that you see the commercial the right amount of time and for the right length. So there's a lot that goes into advertising. So the experimental usage would be the undergrad students. The units would be undergrad students. So the people in the study. The factors. So the factors, remember, are the things you're going to change. So what is going to change? The commercial length and the number of viewings. And I'm pretty sure I spelled that wrong, so let me fix that. BIE. Number of viewings. The levels is how we change them. So how did the commercial length change? Well, there's a 30-second commercial and a 90-second commercial. How does the number of viewings change? Well, some people will see it once, some will see it 3 times, and some will see it 5 times. Because they want to see which amount is the best. And the treatments are the 6 combinations below. So there are 6 combos. So some people might see 1 30-second commercial. Some might see 3 30-second commercials. And then others might see a 30-second commercial. Okay. Some might see one 90-second commercial. Some might see three 90-second commercials, and some might see five 90-second commercials. All right, so those are the different combinations. And your response variable is the effects of commercials towards the product. All right, so we're going to find out is how do these ads affect the person's attitude towards the product? Do they get angry if they see a lot of ads? Does it make them want to buy it? Which one has the best effect on the people towards the product? And we're going to pick up on this stuff in the next section on day 2, and we just do a little more details with it.